Okay, good morning everybody. I'm Leanne May and I'm one of the sales directors at Big Change. Welcome to today's tutorial on CRM, which we'll hope you'll find useful. Because of the number of attendees at the event, it's not possible to answer questions individually. I will be answering some of your questions at the end of the session, which are being picked from those received. I hope you're ready to enjoy today's tutorial and find it useful. Okay, during the course today, we're going to cover from the Big Change website, the contact groups, contact custom fields, adding a new contact, searching contacts, note types, note custom fields, note flags, creating a note, viewing a note, and mail. Then moving on to the JobWatch app, which your engineers, drivers, installations, operatives using. We're going to have a look at searching a contact or a person, viewing the information, adding a new contact, searching notes, or adding a new note. And as I said at the end, there will be room for some questions. Onto my Big Change demonstration site. I said the first thing that I wanted to do with you today was going to go through from the website. Now I'm going to come from the website. I'm going to be going between the administration side of things and also the user tabs. So I always say over here, my account is administration. Now some of you may not have access to that. You might not be administrators of the system, but it is still useful for you to see how it's set up. And then using the user tabs along the top, which you'll all have access to, which you're using all day, every day. The two things that we're going to be using in my account from the administration will be all on the contacts and notes, and then from the user tabs, the CRM. So to begin with, I want to have a look at the different contact groups. So the contact groups are just really simple and easy to create. So you'll see ones which we've set up here already. Now you'll say, why have different contact groups? Contact groups are used in filters, they're used in reports, and they can also be used when searching, and again with your custom fields. So really, really simple to add a new custom field, a new contact group, adding one for this purpose. Let's easy if I can spell my own name. It's called Leanne May, and simply selecting an icon. We'll have a nice drink. It's very early in the morning. We'll have a nice martini glass there. That's just as simple how easy it is to add new contact. But within them, more interesting, so having different contact groups means that you can have different contact custom fields. In the contact custom fields, so I want to have a look at a certain group. The group which I've got everything into is my demonstration group. And these are the custom fields which I have created so far. Creating custom fields, adding new ones is so easy. You're simply adding a custom field. What is the field label? It could be anything you want. Let's say, do they have a smoke? And we can simply have yes or no as an answer. It could be a text, a date, long text, whatever you'd like in there. You can actually have a default value. So it's going to be the same value every time. You don't actually need to answer it. It's mandatory. So it means that they have to actually answer that question. If you're going to store a new contact, they have to complete that. So the case of, you want to know on here, I've said, is it a vulnerable contact? So they have to answer it. Otherwise, they won't be able to store that contact. But again, here on the alarm code, we've said the field label, it's not mandatory. We can decide here, are the fields, are they viewable by resources on the devices on the app, or they're editable by resources? Let's say this one is also going to be viewable by resources. So we can see we've got different custom fields, different things. So some are mandatory, some are not mandatory. We've got yes, no's, we've got whole numbers, we've got texts, and we've got lists. And again, some are viewable on devices and some aren't. So that's how you're creating your custom fields. So that's just all the background really of the setup of contacts. contact groups, contact custom fields. So if we now go into the CRM, and what we'd like to do here is we're looking at all my contacts, but rather what I'm going to do to begin with is add a new contact. So we can simply see we've got the new contact button. So I'm going to add one. So when adding a contact, the map will appear, and we can either add a new contact through a business name, so it'll look through Google. So let's have a look for change on here. A big change, I can simply select big change and it'll populate this information for me. What the geofence opens up to is the center of the postcode or the center of the building, which it's done here. So this is the office that we work in. But what I'd want is if any of my resources, engineers go to big change, they might not just park in this circle area, they might go to a wider area. So I now want to create the geofence all the way around the car park, which they could possibly go into. So it'll monitor, it'll mark them as within that area. So there you go. I've created what we call the geofence around here. It's automatically named it as Big Change Limited. Just for this example, so we can find it easier, I'm going to call it LM. Now I think I've put all the information in there, I've put it on, all I want to do is save it. It's not going to allow me to save it because I always have to put those contacts into a group. So the group that I'm going to put that into is the sales demo group. So if I put this into the sales demo group, the detail now is automatically going to have those custom fields which we created earlier. Into the custom fields, I had a vulnerable contact saying, no, they're not. Any specific alarm codes I could put in there. Any parking restrictions, yes. Must. So just information for your people using the app. Account manager, so I've got a drop-down list at this point. Again, these custom fields are going to be whatever you want. They're just ones I made. You can now, we've got the full address in there. If you'd selected an expiry date, if you want this contact just to appear on your website for a set number of days, you can put an expiry date, and then by that certain due date, it'll just disappear from the system. What we've got here is access hours. So you can create certain access hours. So I'm going to say on a Monday, we can access the building from 6 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night. And then you can just simply add them for each day. So Tuesday's the same, but let's say on a Friday, the site shuts earlier. We shut it 3 o'clock on a Friday. The reason why you'd put access hours on there is for when people are trying to do a job at that site, they're scheduling a job. If the site's closed, it'll warn them that's the case. We can then put in the primary person. So I'm the primary person at this site. Telephone numbers. And also email address. Okay, and position. That's all the information stored. So we've filled in the general tab, we've filled in the details, and then we can go along to the persons. So it'll now tell me to save it. I've got the number in there, as we all know, it's 004. Okay, going back onto the persons, telling me to save it now. And then I can add additional people on here. So if I wanted to add colleagues or other people on there, so let's also add Lee. And then again, I can start and populate all the information from emails to position, departments, mobile numbers, landline numbers, extensions, marketing emails for opting in, opting out. Again, all my options are on there for me. Other information, so if this is just a new contact, nothing else will be in here. So what we'll do is we'll just save this one and come out of that contact. So what I want to do now is search for a contact. So I might say, okay, we've got 372 contacts on here. Going back to the groups, I only want to search for a contact in my sales demo group. So I've got 64 contacts in this specific group. So I can now search. So I want to have a look at one of those sites. So I'm looking for East Wing, that belongs in this group, and East Wing. Here again now. So again, we've got the general, we've got the detail, those custom fields. I've got all the different people who work here. Site, appointment, sales and equipment, financials, which my colleagues have other webinars running on. We've also got all the notes, which we'll cover in a short while. The same with mail. What you'll also find here at this point is the attachments. Now, all these attachments have come from jobs, or there could be just attachments onto jobs or attachment to the site. What I always do is when I've got a contact, I attach something. So every time that somebody goes to this job, this map here is going to appear for them. So it could be the case of it could be something like a risk assessment, method statement, a map showing you all the guidelines of that site, anything you want, but every time you go to that job, that attachment's going to be there for them. So when I search that contact, I just searched it for either by group or just for the name. You could also search by postcode. So I'm putting in there NE27. So Duke's Meadow came up there. Search by city, address. So all my addresses in Newcastle have come up. What we can also do, if we're into groups, we can search, we can add specific filters. So I'd like to add a filter, and from the custom field, I just want to find out all my vulnerable contacts in that group. So I've got 64. I want to find out if anybody's vulnerable. Out of those 64 people, I have got one vulnerable contact. Or rather than that filter, I could have searched for, I might have said I want to have a look for the account. Everybody who had Serge as an account manager in there. And again, it was just big change. Serge, that was only his accounts. But again, they're just any of the custom fields you made would all be there together. And rather than just searching via contacts, you can also search by people. So I find that quite handy. Often I'll receive a voicemail. They won't leave the name. It'll be like, "Hi, Leanne, please give me a call back on this number." So obviously I'd like to know who I'm calling, what I'm calling them about. So at that point, I can either search by telephone number. So looking through the telephone number, I can say, okay, it was Leanne May who called me. Or it might be the case of searching by the last name. So somebody called Craigie's called me. It was Peter Craigie. And then again, I can go in, view the contact, view all the information before I make my call. My landline. So you've got all the different things, or email address, and it'll bring them all up there. So you're searching through the different contacts by either the groups, the actual addresses, the postcodes, the city name. It will all come up there. What hopefully you did notice as well, when I search for Duke's, so I'm looking for Duke's Meadow, it's brought up Duke's Meadow, and it's also brought up East Wing. The reason being, Duke's Meadow Management is the main contact, the parent contact, and then all their sites linked to them. I always use as an example Sainsbury's. So if I was searching, if Sainsbury's was your customer, so searching for Sainsbury's, it'd come up as the parent contact, and then you'd have all the child contacts in Sainsbury's supermarkets. So it can be as many as you want linked in there together. So that's looking at the CRM, the contact, creating contacts, viewing them and searching them. If we now go across the administration side of things, and we're looking at the contact note types. So again, you're going to create as many different note types as you want. So on here, I just created a sales inquiry. So these are just a couple which I created ready. So who's going to be the default owner? So every time you create a note type of that, who is the default owner? I said it was myself, or you could have nominated somebody else within your business. So maybe every time a sales inquiry comes in, So rather than it being to the person who takes the sales inquiries, you could have the person who follows them up. The date it's due, so I don't have any default due date on there, but you could say every time you create a note of a certain type, is there a default due date? So maybe you've had a sales inquiry, so automatically 24 hours later, you'd want that in there. You also have when a note is created. So is it the case of as soon as a note's created, you don't want anything to happen? You want to email. So it's going to say to you, do you want to email this to the customer now? Or it could automatically email it direct to the customer. And the same for the note when it's completed. So example, somebody's contacted me, I've created this sales inquiry. Automatically, do I want to send an email, again with a template, thank you for contacting, big change, you asked me about XYZ, I'm going to get back to you a certain date about XYZ, as being a template, and again when note is completed. So a lot of you might have noticed these coming from Road Crew. If you have contacted our customer services, when we create a note for you, it'll automatically email you, and again when the note is completed, it'll automatically email you with any of the completion notes. So that's all the different note types. Obviously that was one I had in there, just creating a new one, it would be like that. So when you're creating a note, it'll just have a dialogue, it'll have the notes, due date, note owner, created by, and the dialogue. But what you can also do is have note custom fields. So different custom fields can have different notes can have different customer fields. So on here, I said it's a sales inquiry. I've prompted them. They're going to have to answer certain questions. So on here, if we've got an inbound call, where did he hear about us? So what type of response do I want from them? Is it a yes? Is it a no? Text, long text, time, date, statement? And then because I said this is a text, we've got the possible answers. So where did he hear about us? Google, radio, referral, contacted you, other, they're all on there. Again, is there a specific default value? And is it mandatory? So they have to respond to that question. Otherwise, they can't complete the note. And again, on the devices, can they view them, the resource using the device? And is it also editable by them? So you can have as many different custom fields as you want within those note types. We've also got note flags. So again, you can flag a note. So if you want, you might have 100 notes open. You might want to flag certain things. It's with a colleague, it's a high priority, it's with a customer, whatever note flag you need. So again, I just created a couple here, high priority with customer. So all you're simply doing is adding a new flag on there to whatever you'd like it to be. So if from that, if we're going back to the notes on my device. So going on to the same tab, so CRM, we've got contacts. Below there, we have got the notes. So I'm going to create a new note. So who is it for? So I've actually gone into the CRM to notes to create that note. I could have done it exactly the same way. I could have been in one of my contacts. And from here, I can either create a new note, I can edit it, go into notes and create a new note that way instead. That way, the name of who the note's for would already be purpose. Back into the notes, creating a new note. Who is it for? The note is for Dukes Meadow Management. Who is the person for Dukes Meadow? Or this note is for Peter Craigie. And then I'm going to have the type of notes. So I'm going to say there's an inbound sales inquiry. As soon as I selected sales inquiry, all these custom fields popped up, which we created earlier. If I'd said it was a customer complaint, I don't have any custom fields which I need in here. Sales inquiry, subject, or due date. When do I want to be reminded about this? So let's say I want to follow up with them on Friday. Who's the owner? So the default note owner came through as myself, but if it wasn't for me in this instance, I could have put it to a colleague. anything to the note that I want to. So for this one, let's just attach one of my case studies so you can see it. So attachment to the note, that could be in quotations or other emails, diagrams, whatever you want on there. At this point, I have got my different custom fields. Where did they hear about us? It was Google. But what I said on there, so I had my different options. If I'd said other, give details, whatever it could be, delivery, so a customer has seen another customer using it. And again, what services are you looking at for? So say on this one, I have this as a gardening job. So they're looking for single visit tidy up, a weekly visit, monthly, whatever you'd like it to be. Give others, give details. And again, when do they require the services to start? So at this point, I had dates, my custom fields. You have whatever you want in there. Then got the notes. So these will all appear on the note card. So test. Something. So this is what will actually appear on a note card. Where's the dialogue? This is just all the communication that's going back and forward. So I services and back on Thursday. And I'll just start with the dialogue. I then might say, you know, on Thursday, I might ask a colleague for help now. So I'm now going to ask Serge. So you can see I can actually tag people. So by tagging colleagues, they'll get an email letting them know that you've tagged them in a note and they can view on it. So I might say, Serge, please. Serge. And you can see it's all time, date, located, stamped within it. What we can also have in there, we could have created a workflow. So a workflow, rather than having the custom fields, that would have appeared there. Oops. And we've also got the messages within it, the emails, or we can create note flags. It's telling me I've got to save it first. So just save note. So note flags, this is where you could add a flag. So I want to add, this is high priority. So I'm adding that note flag in there. You can have notes within a note, and this is be any activity. So from the activity, this here, so the progress, I can say, you know, today we are 35% complete, and then it'll continue to go on there. I can see that in the activity. So I was creating a note, completing my custom fields, adding note flags, and so on, all in there. So I can just save it. So that note's saved. Let's find that note flag again. So it's going back into Duke's Meadow Management. So we'll now see that note has appeared in here, my sales bound. From there, at the bottom, we've got note card. So this way I could automatically send it to my customer, or I might want to download it and we'll be able to see my note card. So sales inquiry, the contact, due date, the subject, notes, everything was there. So it was only the notes that pulled forward. So you can see this pulled forward, but not the dialogue on there. So that's a note card. I just downloaded that, but you could have easily just emailed it direct to your customer. And again, you'd have had a template that you'd have sent it with, which will be covered in a separate webinar. Now, viewing all my notes. So viewing my notes at the moment, I'm just looking at notes, open for Leanne May, open today. I could have looked at notes just for a certain contact, or if I take a note owner out, we'll see we've got a lot of notes there. So as a company, we've got 189 notes, which are due today. I could search by just maybe who created the notes. So just be created by Leanne, or could create the note owner. Or I'm looking at all note types, but I might only want to look at notes of a certain type. So I want to look at complaint emails right now, which belongs to Leanne. Due today, I want to look at status open, or do I want to have a look at all of them? So I want to look at all of my notes in total. So due today, just the 5, the open, just the 3. The created dates, everything is in there for me. So you'll notice I've only got 3 things to do today. I've got a note about a late delivery, a customer querying price, asking for an AM delivery. If I then move the dates over to the 9th, there's nothing else in there. Moving it over to the 10th, you can see I've got extra notes on here. So this is the inbound call. So I don't need to do anything with it on the 8th, being today, but by the 10th, I want to be reminded that I need to take an inbound call. So they're all on there. So searching the notes. What we did do though as well, we had note flags. So I could have had, so we've got, I want to have a look, we've got 189 notes, I think it was open, 193 notes that we've got open, but I only want to look at notes with a specific flag. So let's say I only want to have a look at notes which are high priority. So there I've only got the 2 notes which are high priority. So they're probably the 2 that I want to deal with first. So that's how we're looking at all the notes. So as we said, you can search the notes from the Notes tab. You could also go into any of your contacts and it'll have just the notes for that contact. So going into Duke's Meadow Management, going to the notes, I've got all of them together. But again, I might have looked at notes just of a certain type, or I only want to have a look at the open notes, or it could be the case of I'm searching for a specific there as well. All the notes at Duke's Meadow, or if I'm going to go into East Wing, so exactly the same way. I've only got those specific notes. And what you probably did notice here, these ones here from East Wing, the child contact, do appear in the parent. So you can see they're all in here as well. So the child notes go over to the parent notes on there. And then the other thing which I wanted to show you from the CRM, so skipping over sales opportunity, financial documents, leave those to a colleague, is mail. So this here is going to show me all mail, so which has been processing, sent, dates to and from to a certain contact group, all mail which has been sent just to a specific, which have been sent to Duke's Management. So the way that you can send mail to everybody, I'd go into contacts and I might want to put a filter in here. So again, I might want to have a look at everybody to a certain group. So looking at everybody in my sales demo group. And what I'd like to do there is send all of them a mail. And again, that's where you could have your templates, which a colleague will be covering. But that could be all your, thank you for your business, or letting them know what you're doing in these horrible, challenging COVID times. It could be Merry Christmas, it could be special offers, whatever you want from templates, or you can simply type as well. And again, so either using a template or just creating one, the specific mail that you're sending. So the mail, again, could be to everybody just in a certain group, or it could be just a certain contact, or again, you're putting a filter in, finding certain people. But that there would be how you'd send them to mails to specific people. So I now want to go on, we've got 15 minutes, then I'll go on to the questions. I now want to go on and show you my device. So I'll just need to access it through SOTI again, 2 moments. All I'm doing now is mirroring my, I'm just going to mirror my device, which I've got a Samsung Galaxy Active tab here. But again, as you know, you could be using it on iOS or Android. It's taking a second to log in. So there you go. So I'm now looking at my device. I'm logged in here, and the CRM on the app, what your resources can do is then go to CRM. Going into CRM, I want to search a person or a contact. So I'm going to search, and I might want to find just a specific group. So I want to have a look at everybody in the sales demo group, pressing search, and it's just going to bring up all those contacts for me. The screen's just taking a couple of moments to catch up. So I've got all my contacts in that group there. Where that could be pretty handy, if you're searching a certain group, you might have one of your resources on the road, and if you've added something like all your fuel stations, what they could then do is go to group, and the group being fuel stations, whatever it is that you want on there. So I'm saying sales demo group again. But then if they select around my position, it will tell them all the people nearest them, or likewise, it could be the nearest plumbing centre or DIY base if they need to pick up extra parts, or it could be the nearest customer. So maybe you've got a salesperson, they've gone out to a sales appointment, the meeting's been cancelled, they then go into customers, around position, press search, and it'll just simply list all the people that were nearby. Rather than searching just contacts, I could also search by person. So again, I'm searching by person. Who do I want to find? The name is, I want to find Peter Craigie. And again, if I just press search, it'll bring up his details straight away. I've got Peter Craigie. He's the East Wing. He's the asset manager. So I'll be able to keep searching people that way. So you can see, it's clear the search the name, and that's how I can search. So either via the contacts, or so searching via the contacts, the group, the contact name, or around my position, or the other way is through persons. So that's the two-way searching from the device. Now, what information can they see on the device? So again, going back to a contact, I'm going to find Duke's Meadow. So searching for Duke's Meadow Management, it's brought the two of them up again, the parent and child. So I'm having a look at Duke's Meadow. So what I can do from here, I could actually edit it. Now, obviously, all these settings are configurable. You know, you might not allow resources to edit contacts and so on. That's all in your JobWatch settings as normal. I'm going to go to edit. If I was allowed to do that, what I could do things like this here, the address, this little blue task. So you might have sent somebody to a job somewhere. They get to site, it's not quite there, it's half a mile up the road. They select this blue icon and it would update where it is. You can see the primary contact. I could change them, I can edit them. Maybe the email address is wrong, the telephone number is. At that point, I can edit it if you're allowing them to do so. I can also view the details. Now the details, they're the custom fields. Now what you might notice on here, I've only got one custom field, whereas over on the website here, I had several custom fields for the contact group. So the contact group on here, just going down to the sales demo group, I had 5 different custom fields, but on here, I've only got one. That's because I said some of them aren't viewable on the device. So I said vulnerable contact, we're not going to allow the engineer, the resource to see that. But again, it's just a tick box exercise. You can decide what they can and can't see. So some of the custom fields might be office use, not for resource use on the device. Creating job, again, that's through job scheduling, but you can create a job for them at that point. They can also view all the recent jobs that have been on that site. So having a look at any of the recent jobs that we've done. So let's just say here, for example, somebody's had an accident at that site. And again, the resource could view that job card from the accident that they had. So, you know, if you're doing servicing work, you could view previous services, or if it was deliveries, what's been delivered previous. So they can actually see the previous jobs on that site. They can look at the notes. So going into the recent notes, this will show me all the notes. So there's our top one there, the sales inbound call. And that's showing me the notes on there about that contact. Okay, that's all the different notes on there. And we can view all the people there. So again, that's all the people who work there. I could add a new person from there. Update the position. So again, it's giving me the opportunity to update the position. That would be that one there. So that'll update it. So what you can see on here, you're not allowed to do that. Please contact your administrator. So the way we've got it set is that I can't change the location, which is what we'd want. and it would also show me any stock that's on at that site. So we've had a look at the contacts which are already on the device. What I may want to do now is add a new contact. So I want to add a new contact. So the contact name, let's just add it as myself, Leanne May. At the moment, none of us are obviously working from the office. I'm actually working from my home, one of my homes in Sweden. So I'm going to add the new contact name, Leanne May in Sweden. What group do I want to belong to? My demo group. Any extra information I can put there. Now I can either type the address there, or using my little dot again, it's going to populate that address for me. So that's where I am now. Got no idea how to pronounce that. My Swedish isn't very good at the moment, but it's Victor something in Gothenburg. So I'm adding that, and then again, I can add my person. So whatever the information I want to add, just Leanne May, phone or telephone number. If I want to add anything extra else, I can. If not, simply just saving that contact. So that contact's now being created. If I do want to find it, if I just search my name on the, search for my name on the device. Searching, and there we go. We've got Leanne May, Sweden. That's been added to my contacts. And if I also go onto the website, going to CRM, searching, if I'm looking for Leanne May, and it's going to bring up here, Leanne May, Sweden. You can view it. And that's the exact location I'm sat in now in my apartment. So we can go onto the satellite. It's even got the floor right on the top floor, so it'll show you exactly where I am. So that contact, which had been created from the device, has automatically populated the website. Okay, and then the other part of the CRM wanted to have a look at on here was the notes. So we looked at the notes of that specific contact, but what I want to do now is search the notes. So I might want to find either by the note owner. So I only want to find my notes, and I want to find the notes which are due today. So I'm saying my notes, which are due today, search, and it's just going to bring up those notes which I've got due today. So I've got those 5 notes. So there's all my different ones on there for me. And what I want to do is search again now, the note which we created earlier, which was for the 10th of April, searching that there now. And it's going to come up as the 10th of April, going down, and that was my inbound inquiry. So again, the contact, the notes, and the test note CRM webinar. So there was the note. Everything was there for me. From the device, I might actually want to create a note. So what I want to do now, I'm creating a new note. So contact name, so where is it? Back to Dukes Meadow Management again. So at Dukes Meadow, I'm the person, and then again, I'd have all my note types. So the selected sales inquiry, the status, it's still open at the moment. Subject, I went past a building site lead, I'm going to say. And then again, the notes, so the owner, again, as the note. So this is what I typically do. Generator, company, on site, spoke to foreman, call to arrange a meeting. So that's something I would typically do on there. Note owner and due date. So I want to do it today when I get back. And I'm just going to simply save that note. So the note has been created. So again, if I go to search my notes, searching my notes, due date today, looking through them, and we'll see there I've got my additional sales inquiry on there. And that will also have come over through, if I come onto my contacts, onto my notes on my main website. So note owner, it's myself, there we go. And here is the building site lead. There's my note. Saw generator company on site, spoke to the foreman, arranged a call meeting. Everything is completely in sync. CRM on my device again. So just to show you again, you've got your contacts. So all of those, you can search your contacts, which you can see by group, contact name, by around your position. On the contact, you can add a new contact. Okay. And then from the, also on the CRM, we've got the notes. So you're searching your notes, either by note type, status, owner, due date, or you're creating new notes. And then we've got the CRM again on there. Oops, go back on. And again, on the CRM, we've got the persons, which you're viewing your people, searching your people, or creating new people. They're all on there together. So coming back out of the device and from the website, what I'm going to do now is hopefully, oops, so from this slideshow, we've got what we've covered, the contact groups, the contact custom fields, adding a new contact, searching contact, note types, note custom fields, note flags, creating a note, viewing a note, and mail. Part of those were from the administrator's point of view, so some of you may not be able to do that with your restrictions. You can certainly make suggestions to colleagues which can, or you know how to set up and why you have to do certain things. Then we had from obviously the CRM tab, which you will all have access to. And then we looked at the search from the JobWatch app. Oops. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed the session, and I'm now going to have a look at some of the questions you've asked. So I think I can see some popping up on here. So from the participants, let's have a look. Have any questions on the chat? Let's see. Okay, yep, somebody's answered it for me. Thank you very much, Michael. So let me do that so I can show you for everybody. Can I add multiple contacts at the same time from an Excel spreadsheet? What you'd simply do is, I've got it on here already. So you've got the big change data import, and that's where you'll be able to add all your contacts together. So if I went onto here, you've got your parent contact, and you've got those, that's the way we can add several contacts. Okay, can you use a workflow on the note on the JobWatch app? That's not on there at the moment. You can't add the workflow on a note. The workflow is only from the back office. So on here, from the administration side of it, contacts and notes, note workflows. So on the accident report, for example, on here, this is the note workflow that we have on that, or you can simply create them. So workflows are being like worksheets, which belong to workflows. So they're not actually on the app at the moment. Didn't see any other questions. So some questions which I've been sent in advance. Oh, one here. Okay, let's have a look at these other question just popped up. What is workflow and how does it work? Okay, well, the workflow, it's the same as a worksheet. So the worksheet would be within a note. So every time you create a note type, a certain worksheet can be with it. So let's add a worksheet. So I'm going to add a worksheet. So let's just call it test. We'll see it. So I created a new worksheet. So Leanne test. And what that is, it's just a series of questions which belongs to it. So I'm just going to put some quick on there. So test 1 is a question, and 2 is going to be a list, and the answers are A, B, C. So we've just got two on the worksheet, so the workflow for the note, we've just got the 2. If I now go back to my note types, sales inquiry, from here, I always want to put a default workflow in there. Which workflow shall I put? And may test. So that workflow has gone in there. So when I go into my notes, we've got so if I now create a new note and the note type was a sales inquiry, my workflow questions will now be in there. So basically it's almost like custom fields that you don't have to create from each workflow. You just ask them to automatically come through. So that's what a workflow is. Okay, let me go to quickly look at these other questions. I've got a few more prepared. The import doc, that's available from Road Crew on the Road Crew tab, which I'm going to show you before we go. Okay, how do you tag a colleague? Somebody's already answered there for me, but again, I'm putting it at. So that's all you do. So anybody who's a web user in your business, so that would tag Serge, and I can tag multiple people, so James Scully, and they'll have an email saying they've been tagged in that note. So again, and then if they put them in, when they respond, it would automatically bring up at who tagged them in it, but again, they can take it out if they don't want to. Okay, and for marketing emails, what usage do I use on templates? And you decide on there. So templates, we'll go over more in a different session, but just to answer your question now. So on the usage, you're creating your own usages that you have. So on there, so you create. The 2 of the questions which I have been asked about were the knowledge base. 3, sorry, I've got the knowledge base. These are the previous questions. So on the knowledge base, these are just all documents which can be used. You might want other people in your business to see them. So at Big Change, we have things like price lists, information on Canvas, information on our smart witness cameras. So simply are just information. So, it's a bit like a SharePoint or a Droppoint. They're all on there. So you've got all the information you need to hand. And then the other thing that I was asked about was contact flags, which we haven't gone over. So on contacts, the people can be flagged. So I've got Duke's Meadow Management here. And what you can do is you can flag a contact. So I flagged them, and then you can say a reason why they are flagged. And again, you can put somebody on stop and the reason why they're on stop, and it'll have a big banner along the top. So it could be because of non-payment, or you don't want to deal with them, or whatever the reason. So you've got on stop and you've got the flagged reason. You can also flag the people. So when you've added all the persons, what you can do is add flags. So I'm going to add, we've got Gail Wilson there. What I'm going to do is flag her. So we're going to flag Gail Wilson. Let's just flag her in accounts. The reason why you flag people is when you're sending them job cards, note cards, alerts, things like that, you can actually send them to the flagged person. So as opposed to sending them who the job contact was, or sending a mail to the main person, you might say, I don't want to send it to the mail person who's ticked. It actually needs to be sent to whoever's flagged, so a certain person with a certain flag. And then I was also asked about the map. So what use are contacts and contact groups on the map? So if I'm viewing the map at the moment, you'll just see this map that you're used to. So viewing the map at the moment, you can either view via resources or via vehicles, whichever one you want. As you know, they're all going to be into your different groups. So you can see the normal information. Again, we've got people working from home, France, Sweden, all over the place at the moment. So that's what's showing. So on the map, by using the eye, rather than just looking at road or aerial ordnance survey, I've just got the vehicles on the map. Rather than looking at the vehicles, let's also add the contacts. But I only want to add the contacts in a certain group. So this again could be, for example, if you've got multiple depots, you might say, I always want my depots shown on the map. Or it could be the case of fuel stations. You always want to see your customers. And again, how would you like them? So I've said I want them labeled by their address, or do I want them labeled by telephone number, or do I want to label by a custom field as well? What do I actually want shown on the map for them? So that's how you can view the contacts on the map. And again, if anybody hasn't noticed this eye before, you could also view territories, appointments, stock, and so on. That's also on there. Sometimes people haven't noticed that. Let me see another question on here. We can't send over 5,000 people on the groups, so what you'd have to do is split it down into 2. So we keep talking about, obviously, we're all here to help you all the time. Oops, there you go. So we're all here to help at any time. Road crew are your best point of call. Your salesperson will always be happy to look after you, but at times we're in webinars, meetings, it might take a while. So road crew on the telephone number shown here, or the email address is the best way to go. But hopefully a lot of you will now have noticed our new road crew, our help centre. This help centre really is fantastic for what you want. I use it still, even now, after nearly 8 years of being within the company. But if somebody asks me a question, which I'm unsure of in a meeting, I can simply search it or go in. So let's say CRM, because we've been doing CRM. Let's go into here. What do I want to have a look at exactly? So from the CRM tab, what do I want to have a look at? I'm just going side by side by side. All points are in here. So selecting a contact primary person, which is the first one I saw there. So each time we've got a description, we've got screenshots of exactly what you need to do step by step. We've also got them, on quite a lot of them, we've got videos and tutorials as well. So on here, for example, one of the questions popped up was on mail. So again here, set up subjects for emails, set up job confirmations for group jobs. Everything is on there, all the different things. Me there, maybe I should show you something else as well. We've got a few moments left, is alerts. So we can actually have alerts on notes as well. So going into notes, to alerts, creating new alerts. So you know you've got them on resources, you've got them on vehicles, you've got them on jobs. We can also have alerts for web users. So I could say it's either any web user, or I could select a certain web user, i.e. being myself, or perhaps you actually want to have a look at maybe somebody's off sick for a week. So you want to look at all their notes that they had expiring, you want to be alerted to them. But for this example, I'm just going to say any web user what? They have a note expiring. And I could say select a note. So again, is it just any note, or notes of a specific type, a specific note for a specific group, or just one specific contact? So if I said notes of a specific type, so I want to know any sales inquiries. So any sales inquiries, I just want to be reminded a day before. And who to go to? I'm going to email it to myself. But it could have been to pop up on screen, it could have been to the device, or it could have been via email. Note expiring. Or it could have been the status has changed to. So again, a note, so specific type. So again, just using my sales inquiry, I only want to know if anybody opens a note of that type. So maybe you might want to know somebody in head of customer service might want to know if any note type had been opened that was a customer complaint. And things that we've got on here, and that's all about the financial alerts. So they're all on there as well. So that was just to show you with alerts. A couple of moments left to see if there's any other questions which I can answer quickly on here for you. Okay, how do you, okay, so on here, are there any spaces left on this afternoon's training? Yes, there are. For any of the training sessions, there is a link on LinkedIn. If you want to go there, you can register direct for them. We've got training sessions, and we have them again. There isn't one this afternoon, sorry. We have Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon. We have Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, same Thursday, same Friday on different subjects. On this one here, one of them is on templates, which is how do you set up marketing emails, letters to be sent. So we do have a full webinar on there. But if you want to have a little look beforehand, it's in administration. You go into accounts, you go to templates, and this here is how you set up your template. So you're going to add a template, and again, it'll be the name, and that's when we go into the subject, keywords, and so on. So if you want to have a look at that before you go into the webinar, accounts, templates, it'll all be on there. But we're coming to the end of the time now, so I hope, oh, one more. Okay, let's have a quick look. No, there's none on Friday. So I said we've got training sessions Thursday morning and afternoon, and then again from starting Tuesday. So none on Easter Friday, Easter Monday. Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you found it useful. You do all have my email address, so any feedback you want to send, more than happy to do so. If I can respond to it, I will. Or alternatively, I'll send you links to the next training sessions. In fact, I think what I'll do actually, as long as it's okay with everybody, I will actually send you all the link to the further training sessions we've got, and everybody can enroll and register in whatever they'd like to do so. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. Nice to have seen a few of your faces on there, and I look forward to seeing you when we can all meet again at any of our networking events, which you're all welcome to. And I will be joining webinars myself, so I'm going to learn some more from colleagues. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day.